Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Firewood at the Furnace. Today I want to talk about one of the easiest and most profitable ways to get started in the firewood side hustle. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is by bundling firewood. I get a lot of emails and messages and sometimes even some phone calls from people wanting to get into this little hobby, small business, side hustle, whatever you want to call it. And they always ask me, what is the easiest way to get your feet wet and get started in this? And by far, I tell them, it is bundling firewood. You don't need a whole lot of space and you don't need a whole lot of equipment. So I'll tell you right now that bundling firewood is the absolute best way to go. You can start with very little and make a good profit margin. You can bundle firewood, not do it in bulk. You can reach a lot more customers. And today I want to break down why bundling firewood might just be the way for you to go. Stick around. All right, so this video today is going to be directed to those of you who are just getting started. Just the wheels are turning in your head about wanting to do this, or maybe you've already started doing this and you're underway, but you still have a lot of questions. That's who I'm directing this video towards today, and hopefully it can help you out. So before we get started, let's just talk about what is bundled firewood. When I say bundling, I mean taking firewood that's cut to around 16 inches, which is kind of the standard, 16 to 18 inches. You cut it, you split it, you let it dry properly, and then you package it up into neat 1 cubic foot bundles is what I do. Some people do 0.75, 3/4 of a cubic foot. You can determine what size works best for you. But that's what I'm talking about when I say bundling. So you've seen these before at the gas stations, the campgrounds, hardware stores, even roadside stands, driveway stands. They're clean, convenient, and easy for people to grab and go. And that convenience is exactly why people will pay more for a piece of wood in a bundle than they will by buying it in bulk. So as we go through today's video, when we're talking about bundled firewood, this is what we're talking about. All right, let's talk about the profit difference between bundles and bulk firewood. It's really easy to get started in firewood and think you're going to mass produce this firewood and just sell it by the truckload or sell it by the trailer load. But you'll quickly realize that you want to start small and build your way up. If I could do it over again, I started with bulk and got into bundles fairly quickly. But I kind of wish I would have concentrated more on bundles in the beginning than on the bulk side, because I would have started making money a lot quicker. That first year I busted my butt. I think I split and stacked 35 cords of firewood, and then I sat on it for 10-12 months until I even saw $1. You can start seeing some return in your labor and your effort and your work a lot sooner by doing bundles. So let's run the numbers, because this is where bundling really shines. A face cord of firewood is about 43 cubic feet of wood. If you sell it in bulk, you might get $100 to $150 for that face cord, that 1/3 of a cord, depending on where you're living. Around here I get about $110 to $120 for a face cord of wood. But it gets way better than that, right? If you take that face cord, that 1/3 of a cord that we just talked about, that you can get about $100 to $150 for, and you package it into your let's just say 1 cubic foot bundles like we have in here, you'll get around 43 bundles, right? Roughly. I mean, your bundles may run a little over. Try not to make them run a little under, but if anything, make them run a little over. So say you get 40 to 43 bundles ideally out of that face cord of firewood. Now those bundles around here normally sell for anywhere from $5 to $8. I sell them individually here for $7. I sell them wholesale for $5 to my local stores, and we'll get into that more here in just a few minutes. But roughly $5 to $8 is what you can get per bundle. At the low end, at $5 per bundle, that works out to $215 for that face cord of wood. And at $7 per bundle, it's $300. And at $8 a bundle, you're looking at $344 for that same amount of firewood that you were going to sell in bulk for $100 to $150. Compare that to the $150 and you're doubling, sometimes even more than doubling your profit just by changing how you sell it. Now you might be saying, Brad, if bundles cost more than bulk firewood, then why in the world would people want to spend more money for the same amount of wood? And the answer is really simple. It's convenience, right? Most people don't want or need a whole truckload of wood. A family camping for the weekend just wants a few bundles for the night, or sitting around the fire pit, they just need a couple bundles. Somebody with a backyard fire pit, they only need enough firewood for a random Friday night hangout when they're having some friends or family over. Bundles are easy to grab, they don't have to take up as much space, and they're clean. Customers are happy to pay more for that convenience, right? It's just like you pay more for a bottle of water at the convenience store than you do for a gallon jug of water. It's not about the cheapest priced, it's about what's easy and convenient. Another reason why bundles are the best side hustle is because of how many places you can sell them, right? Bulk sales usually mean you either deliver or someone comes to your house. Bundles, the options are wide open. You can sell them at gas stations, convenience stores. They always need bundles for travelers or campers or just local people. Campgrounds, you can sell directly to the campground or they can buy them from you and resell them. Farmers markets, roadside stands, perfect for impulse buys. Hardware stores, garden centers, especially in the fall and winter time. It's heating up to be the busy time right now. Or your own driveway, right? Make yourself a little driveway stand. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Put it at the end of your driveway or alongside the road out in front of your house. It works out really well. With bundles, you get your wood into the exact place where people are and they're ready right then to buy the wood. All right, the next advantage is the startup cost and the ease of entry into this side hustle, right? It's perfect for beginners. The startup costs are way lower than trying to sell in bulk. To sell in bulk, you almost need a big truck, a trailer, heavy equipment, a place to store lots and lots of cords of wood. But with bundles, you can start with just a chainsaw, a small box store splitter, even an axe if you want, some mesh bags or stretch wrap as I use here, and a small place to have for you to keep your wood to dry it out until it's ready to go. That's it. You don't need to process 10 cords of wood to get going. Start with just a cord or two, bundle it up, and suddenly you've got inventory that's worth hundreds of dollars sitting, and it will be ready to sell in short order. Another thing I love about bundling is that it's a great way to get your kids involved, right? It's simple, safe, repetitive work. Even if they're youngins, they can still get involved. That will teach them the value of earning an honest dollar. They put in the effort, they help stack and bundle the wood, and when those bundles sell, they can see firsthand how their hard work pays off. And it gets their mindset into that working, make an honest dollar, rewarding feeling that you get when you work hard for your money, right? And here's a tip. You don't need to buy fancy equipment to make your bundles. You can throw together a homemade bundle frame out of scrap lumber you have laying around to hold the wood while you wrap it by hand. That's exactly what I did. Now I have the Eastonmade Wrap Master now, which is the Mac Daddy of all firewood wrappers. But I started out with a simple homemade wooden frame, exactly like I said, made it out of some lumber I had laying around, and it worked really well for me for the first couple of years. So it works great to get started, and then as your business grows, you can upgrade to something nicer and faster, maybe even a professional bundling machine. And the best part is that your bundle sales, if you keep that money set aside or put a little bit away as you sell your bundles sales will pay for that upgrade. All right, so just to wrap things up today, I really believe that firewood bundles is the best way to get started in this firewood side hustle. Bundles are two or three times more profitable than selling in bulk. Customers love the convenience and will pay extra without thinking twice for the convenience of firewood bundles. You can sell them in way more places. If you want to hustle and you want to get into some of these local stores, convenience stores, hardware stores, or even talk to your neighbors about setting up stands on their property so you can have multiple roadside stands. That's a great way to get your product out there. And you know, the startup costs are much more minimal than trying to sell in bulk, where you need bigger equipment, heavier equipment, or a truck or a trailer, things like that. So that's my 2 cents. Like I said, this video was geared towards those of you who are either just getting going or really considering getting going. The weather's cooling off. It's great exercise to cut and split some firewood. It's great for your mental health. Will keep you moving. Gives you time to kind of get away. Your mind goes to a different place when you're splitting firewood. My wife thinks I'm crazy when I say that, but it really is true. So hopefully I answered some questions for those of you who are just getting going. And hopefully you'll come back here, check out some more of the videos. Like I said, I'm going to link down in the description, and I'll link at the top of the video there the homemade scrap wood firewood bundle frame that I started out with. It shows some dimensions, some measurements. It's just what I did. You can modify it. You can come up with your entire new idea if you like. I just like to put out there what I've done so that people can get some ideas. But I'm done rambling. I hope you all have a great day, a great week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.